muscles of the leg. So muscle of the legs can be discussed this way. If you see, this is just a transverse section of the leg. For example, if this is your leg, the upper limb, assume it is a leg. So you now cut across, transversely like this, across the leg. This is what we are going to see, across the tibia and the fibula. So from this external part of it, you will see that we remove the skin. This is the deep fascia here. So the deep fascia surrounds the leg. This deep fascia, as it surrounds the leg, it surrounds everything, the bones, the muscles, and the neurovascular bundles together. Are you clear? So it forms something like a cylinder, enclosing the entire content of the leg, similar to the fascia lata that surround the entire thigh, both the muscles and the bone together, the femoral bone. So the same thing here. So the deep fascia sends some partitions inside the leg. It sends two partitions, what we call septum, singular, septae, plural. So the deep fascia sends a septum to the fibula, to the anterior border. This is fibula, this is tibia. Tibia, you know, is very large. It's larger than the fibula. So anterior border of the fibula, the deep fascia sends a septum to attach on the anterior border of the fibula. Similarly, it sends another septum to the posterior border of the fibula. Are you clear? So that the two septae encloses, the two septae here now enclose a space here on the lateral side of the fibula. This is fibula, this is the lateral side, this is the medial side. So these two septae, this anterior intermuscular septum and this posterior intermuscular septum now encloses this space. And so again, the two bones, tibia and fibula, they are being attached by one membrane, what you call interosseous membrane. So there is an interosseous membrane made up of connective tissue that is lying between the tibia and the fibula. This interosseous membrane divides this leg into two compartments, anterior compartment and posterior compartment. But by the coming of these two septae from the deep fascia, this anterior intermuscular septum and posterior intermuscular septum, the two compartments, anterior and posterior compartment, is now being divided, being added by this another compartment. That is the third compartment. So here we have anterior compartment, we have posterior compartment as a result of this interosseous membrane. But because of these two septae now, we have additional compartment. This is what we call lateral compartment. So that means in the leg, we have three muscular compartments. Anterior compartment that is lying between the tibia on the medial side, anterior intermuscular septum on the lateral side, and posteriorly bounded by the interosseous membrane. So you have anterior compartment here. Posteriorly now you have this large compartment. So the posterior compartment is the largest among the three. The lateral compartment is the smallest. Each of these compartments has muscles and neurovascular bundles. Are you clear? So in each of these compartments, you have neurovascular bundles here, you have another one here, you also have another one here. So the arterial and nerve supply of this one differs from the one here. Here also differs from the one here. So now we'll see what are the contents of these compartments. In the anterior compartment, the first one, you have four muscles. You have what you call tibialis anterior. You also have extensor digitorum longus. You have extensor hallucis longus and peroneus tertius, known as also fibularis tertius. As a general principle, all the muscles that are in the anterior compartment, they all originate from the fibula on the lateral side. So they all originate on the anterior surface of the fibula, except the tibialis anterior. That is the one that originates on the tibia. Are you clear? So since we have four muscles, The remaining three, they all originate from the anterior surface of the fibula. The tibialis anterior originate from the tibia. So you now know all the origin of these four muscles in the anterior compartment. So now what are the insertions? Now we have seen the origin. Tibialis anterior from the tibia. The remaining three muscles, extensor digitorum longus, extensor hallucis, and peroneus tertius, they all originate from the fibula anterior surface because they are in the anterior compartment. Are you clear? Good. Now what are the insertions of this muscle? The tibialis anterior, if you look at it as it originated from the tibia, it passes vertically downward and get inserted to the medial cuneiform bone. We'll discuss the foot bones. So there are three small bones, at the base of the tarsal bones, metatarsal bones. So we have one on the medial side, one in the middle, and one on the lateral side. So the tibialis anterior attaches at the medial cuneiform bone and also attaches at the base of the first metatarsal bone. Because, we have 5 metatarsals. In the hand, that they are called metacarpals. The first one is that of the thumb. Second one, the index. Third one, middle. The same thing with the foot. So on the foot, the first toe, the long bone there now, the first one is what you call the first metatarsal, then followed like that, second, third, fourth, and what have you. So the tibialis anterior now attaches to the medial cuneiform bone and the base of the first metatarsal bone. So we have seen the origin and insertion. When you now come to the extensor digitorum longus, extensor digitorum longus, it emanates from the fibula. Some of it also emanates from the tibia, but just understand that major part of it originates from the fibula. So it descends downward, lies anterior to the ankle joint, and then attaches to what we call extensor expansion of the digits. Are you clear? So we said that the extensor digitorum longus, as it originates from the fibula, it descends vertically downward, lies anterior to the ankle joint, and then the tendons, they attach into the extensor expansions of the lateral 4 digits. This is the first one. The big toe is the first one. The remaining 4, that is where the extensor digitorum longus attaches. You get my point? So that is the attachment of the extensor digitorum longus. The other one is extensor hallucis longus. Hallux means big toe. So from this name now, longus, very long. So it originates from the fibula also. It descends vertically downward also, lies anterior to the ankle joint, and then attaches to the distal phalanx of the big toe. Because we say hallucis, that means it goes to the first toe. So it goes to the base of the distal phalanx. In the big toe, we have two phalanges, proximal and distal phalanx. But in the remaining 4 toes, we have 3 phalanges, proximal, middle, and distal. So here, the extensor hallucis longus attaches at the base of the distal phalanx of the big toe. So now we have seen the insertion of the extensor hallucis longus. How about the fibularis or peroneus tertius? This one, it also originates from the fibula and then passes downward and lies anterolateral to the ankle joint. Did you hear the word anterolateral? I didn't say anteriorly, I say anterolateral. So it now passes like that and then attaches at the base of the 5th metatarsal bone. Are you clear? Which one attaches on the base of the first metatarsal? Tibialis anterior. So peroneus tertius is like the opposite of the tibialis anterior because the tibialis anterior attaches on the base of the first metatarsal. The peroneus tertius or fibularis tertius attaches at the base of the 5th metatarsal bone. So now we've seen the origin and insertion of the muscles in the anterior compartment because we have 4 muscles. These are the 4 muscles there. So for the lateral compartment, we only have two muscles. These two muscles now, all of them, they originate from the fibula. You get it? So it means that most of these muscles now, they originate from the fibula, because fibula, as I told you before, was not participating in the formation of the knee joint, but now it's participating in giving origin to muscles. You get my point? So that means if you don't assist someone in one way or another, you assist him in the other way. Are you clear? So that's it. So now we have two muscles. The first one is fibularis longus or peroneus longus. The other one is fibularis brevis or peroneus brevis. So the two muscles, they originate from the fibula. And then how about the insertion? The peroneus brevis now, as it originates from the lateral side of the fibula, remember those muscles that I said they originate from the fibula in the anterior compartment, they originate from the anterior surface of the fibula. But these ones, they are in the lateral compartment, so they originate from the lateral surface of the fibula. Are you clear? So the peroneus longus or fibularis longus, it originates from the lateral side of the shaft of the fibula, descend vertically downward on the lateral side of that fibula, and then curves underneath the foot until it now attaches on the base of the first metatarsal bone. Did you understand? As it descends down now, instead of it to attach on the base of the fifth metatarsal bone, it didn't do that because it is thinking of another important function. That is why it didn't stop here. So it goes underneath the foot to go and attach at the base of the first metatarsal bone. This is the underneath of the foot. You get it? So this is the tendon here. As it winds round underneath the foot, it attaches at the base of the fifth metatarsal bone, and also together with the medial cuneiform bone. So it means it has similar attachment with which muscle? Exactly. So it has similar attachment with that of the tibialis anterior. So the peroneus brevis, brevis means small. This one longus, long. So any tall person in your class is longus. Any short one now is brevis. Are you clear? So the brevis, the peroneus brevis now, as it comes down now, it passes on the lateral side of the ankle joint and then attaches at the base of the fifth metatarsal bone. So this one has similar attachment with which muscle? Fibularis or peroneus what? Exactly. That's it. So now we've seen the origin and insertion of these muscles in the lateral compartment. How about the muscle in the posterior compartment? In the posterior compartment, we have two groups of muscles. If you can remember, when we now look at this diagram here, the posterior compartment now is being divided into two compartments, one deep and one superficial. What divides this posterior compartment into two? If you can remember, I said that the deep fascia sends some partitions, one to the anterior border of the fibula, the other one to the posterior border of the fibula. So this posterior intermuscular septum, after attaching to, before it attaches to the posterior border of the fibula, it also sends a transverse intermuscular partition, what we call transverse intermuscular septum. That divides the posterior compartment into two compartments, superficial and deep. So it is the transverse intermuscular septum from the posterior intermuscular septum. That one divides the posterior compartment into superficial and deep group of muscles. So we'll now see what are the muscles that are found in the deep compartment and what are the muscles that are found in the superficial compartment. So let us go back to our own posterior compartment. So in the superficial group of muscles, in the superficial compartment, we have three muscles. These three muscles, their own function, all of them, they are all plantar flexors. And all of them, they inside to the calcaneal bone, the heel bone. I'm sure you know what is heel bone, even though you have not done football, you know what is heel bone. We call it calcaneus. So the calcaneal bone, that is where, the back of the calcaneal bone, that is where these three muscles originate. We call them GSP muscles. I'm sure you have done this program, GSP, General Study Program in BUK. So this GSP, they are called GSP muscles. The first one is gastrocnemius, the G. The S is soleus. The P is plantaris. Are you clear? So these are the GSP muscles. Only those of you that are doing GSP will understand what we mean by GSP here. So the first muscle, the gastrocnemius, the G, you get it, consists of two muscles. The gastrocnemius, it has two bellies, one on the medial side, the other one on the lateral side. So it has lateral head and medial head. The two together, they combine to form a single tendon. So the medial head of the gastrocnemius originates from the back of the medial condyle of the femur. Similarly, the lateral head of the gastrocnemius originates from the back side of the lateral condyle of the femur. You remember that the femur distal end has two condyles, medial and the lateral. So at the back side of it, the medial head originates from there. Back side of the lateral condyle originates the lateral head of the gastrocnemius. It has two heads. So the soleus originates from the fibula and then passes obliquely down to join with the tendon of the gastrocnemius so that they have a common tendon. The next one is what we call plantaris. Plantaris now originates from the lateral backside of the lateral condyle of the femur. That means it has similar origin with which muscle? Lateral head of the gastrocnemius. So the plantaris also originates from the backside of the lateral condyle of the femur, and then it passes downward like that. Its tendon crosses obliquely downward to the medial side and join those remaining two tendons. The tendons of the gastrocnemius, common tendon of the two heads of the gastrocnemius, and the tendon of the soleus, this one adds to it, making three muscles. So that is why we call them GSP muscles. If you look at this tendon of this plantaris, very long. When you dissect the backside of the thigh, or of the leg, if you see this plantaris tendon, you will confuse it with a nerve. I'm sure most of you will confuse this one with a nerve. You think that it's a nerve. It's not a nerve. It's a tendon, very slender, very round, cord-like, you get it, and very whitish like a nerve. And that is why it is called nervus acinorum. You get it? It is called nervus. You will never see this in your common textbooks. It's known as nervus acinorum because it looks like nervus, nerve. You get it? So that is that. Please quiet, quiet. So these three muscles that I discussed with the superficial group, they are all plantar flexors. And they all inside on the back side of the calcaneal bone. You get my point? So how about the deep compartment? The deep compartment muscles now include these muscles. There is one muscle here which is known as the flexor digitorum longus. This is what? Flexor digitorum longus. So the flexor digitorum longus originates from the back side of the fibula. Are you clear? Remember, muscles of the anterior compartment originate from the anterior surface of the fibula. Muscles of the lateral compartment originate from the lateral surface of the fibula. So the deep muscles of the leg originate from the back side of. So this flexor hallucis longus. Flexor what? Flexor hallucis longus, as it originates from the back side of the fibula, it passes downward and the tendon gets inserted at the base of the distal phalanx. This one has similar attachment with which muscle? extensor hallucis longus. That one attaches at the base of the distal phalanx dorsally. This one attaches at the base of the distal phalanx plantarly. Are you clear? So this one is underneath, this one is above. Are you clear? Good. While the other one extends the toe, the extensor digitorum extends the big toe. This one flexes because it is underneath. Are you clear? So we have now seen the origin and insertion of the extensor hallucis longus. The other one is extensor digitorum longus. The extensor digitorum longus originates from the back side of the tibia. This one, it passes downward, and the tendon now distributes itself to the lateral four toes. So each of these tendons now attaches at the base of the distal phalanx of the corresponding toe. You get my point? So it has 4 tendons. The most medial one attaches to the base of the second toe, so it goes like that. So the tendons attach at the bases of the distal phalanges of the lateral 4 toes. Are you clear? So we have seen the origin and insertion of the extensor digitorum longus. The other one is what we call popliteus muscle. This popliteus muscle is deep. It originates from the, look at this side, this is the lateral side. So it originates from the lateral epicondyle. Did you see the difference? This one is condyle. This projection on the side is called epicondyle. So this popliteus now originates from the lateral epicondyle and then passes obliquely down. The muscle now attaches on the medial side of the upper part of the tibia. Are you clear? So this is what you call popliteus tendon and is oblique, just like the muscle. So we have seen this is also the same muscle here. So this is the origin and this is the insertion of the muscle. So it originates from the lateral epicondyle, passes downward like that and get inserted at the medial side of the upper part of the tibia. So we have seen all these muscles of the anterior, lateral and posterior compartment, both deep and superficial. We have seen the origin and insertion. The functions of the muscle in the anterior compartment is to dorsiflex. That is dorsiflexion. The function of the posterior compartment, all of them, both deep and the superficial, is to plantar flex. So plantar flexion, like this, dorsiflexion, like this. That is the function of the anterior compartment muscles, dorsiflexion. Posterior compartment, plantar flexion. Lateral compartment, eversion, to evert the foot so that the sole faces laterally. So we will now discuss the neurovascular bundles. Let me just rest a little bit, ask some few questions, and then I now continue with the neurovascular bundles of the leg.